Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Michael. Today I'm going to walk you through one of my tracks that I just wrote for Another Brief, which is kind of like an e-gaming or sports style track. It's not necessarily for trailer music, so it's a little bit different, but I'll play you the song. I think you'll understand what I'm talking about once you hear it, and then we'll break down the different instruments that I use and kind of how I applied them to the song. So let's take a listen. Okay, so that's the track. Hopefully you kind of get the vibe that I was going for in terms of e-gaming. I don't really watch e-gaming. I play a lot of video games, but I was more taking it from a sports kind of point of view. Because like, I recognize that sound more from sports. So what did we do here? So I basically took a mixing course. As you can see here, I was mixing with it, mixing this track for like forever because I was learning all these new plugins that I got. So that's why it took me so long to make a new video. So this song, I've kind of heard it so many times that I can't even really hear what's too loud, what's too quiet. So I just was like, okay, I'm going to release the song, or in terms of like this YouTube video. So if you hear some things that are too loud or whatever, perfect. Maybe you guys could point those out to me. But I just got so tired of hearing it so that I was like, I'm just going to release the song and we can go over it. So what do we got here? We've got percussion, short strings, long strings, which one thing I've labeled 808, which isn't just 808s, but it's like a low subby sound. Guitars, low brass, French horns, some FX. I've actually got two things here of FX, which are just kind of like risers and whoosh-its, and some synths. So let's start off with the percussion. Well, you know what? We can start off really with the intro. I've labeled it here. So basically all I have here, you can hear that it has like a coming through your radio kind of sound. It's not like right in your face. So let me just play that quickly. Or not. So all that is a I have a EQ. So let's pull it up here, and you can see how it kind of interacts with the song. So you can see there, it starts off pretty restricting, and then it slowly opens up to kind of give us that sound like it's changing. And then you can see right when I hit what I've labeled here, section A, it turns off completely. So boop, 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 it's completely gone, right? So that means when the song starts, like once the intro is basically done, which is only, I don't know, 10 seconds, all of a sudden all the EQ is off, at least the phone filter notch, which we've got labeled here, so that everything just goes back to what it should sound like. So that's kind of the intro. Just this quick little, because I'm like, it's a sports thing. It's just got to come in quick. We've got a hi-hat, we've got a kick, we've got a snare, and I was, even while I was writing the song, I was like, am I being too limited with the percussion? But I think it works. So let's listen to what we got here. Actually, let's go from here. pretty basic, right? We've got the hi-hat, which has kind of got most of the movement. And that's kind of like how, when I write songs like this, even though I haven't written too many songs like this, whenever I'm doing like anything that has kind of like beat like this, I try to change the hi-hat up just so it gets a little different each section, but nothing too crazy, right? You can just kind of mess around with the rhythms and write something that sounds good. The kick's obviously pretty basic as well. So let's just hear the kick and the snare. Oh my god. Actually. Yeah. So those, I've got those are just samples I had in my hard drive. So it's nothing like, no instrument in particular that I was using. Let's check out the short strings, because they're kind of like, the French horns are really big in the song, but the strings are kind of there throughout the whole track. So let's just listen to those. Sorry, a little bit of a brutal here. Okay, so those are from Metropolis Arc. You can, if you know that library, it has that very Metropolis Arc sound, which is kind of like aggressive, and they just sound like they're in this big room. So it's kind of this repeating pattern, and then about halfway through the A section, I've labeled it intro A, B, because the B is just like a change from section A, and then I put A again because it's the original A section played again, but with just some changes, and then a climax at the end here. But the A section, about halfway through, we get this second layer of strings in the higher register here. So okay, so that kind of takes us into that B section here. What's important about these strings is that they're, I don't know, just a lot of sports stuff. The references had these kind of strings that were always going along. So all they're doing in the higher section here, higher octave, is just playing the exact same thing that's below. So I didn't do anything crazy. I just took them, moved them up so that it just gives us the kind of like bigger feel to it. So let's hear that, and let's listen to the long strings. So you might be hearing, so basically there's the cellos, and then we've got the low strings, which are from Arc, and then I've got CSS cellos. You might be noticing kind of like a little bit of like a in and out sound. That's because I noticed that my kick was having issues kind of breaking through the mix. And I'm not super experienced with this, so I was like, okay, I'm going to try using a sidechain, which means basically when the kick hits, these other instruments that I have sidechained dip down so that the kick comes through. Because like on a track like this, I feel like the kick needs to really come through. The percussion needs to be like loud, and you need to hear it because it's just kind of hyping you up. So you'll hear that the strings are kind of ducking when the kick would be hitting. So let me play the strings along with the kick. It might not even be that noticeable, but I also did it on the 808s here, so it does just help it kind of push through the mix. So the long strings aren't doing anything fancy. Nothing really in particular is doing anything too fancy, but so we got the short strings going, we've got the percussion going, and the long strings. So let's hear the 808s here in the middle. Let's solo just these. And these, along with the low arc strings, are just kind of doing like the root notes. Oop. This, I should have frozen more tracks, perhaps. Depending on your kind of like audio setup, you might not even be hearing a lot of that, but it is just kind of like this lower sound that helps just fill out the mix. So we've done that as well. Let's check out what's next is kind of like these Brahms or these lower brass sounds. So basically those are played by Jaeger and the Horde, which is a really awesome, like kind of low sound that kind of just obliterates everything in its way. So let's listen to that on its own. I just love it. So nothing on its own sounds particularly like strong, or well, they sound strong, but nothing like all together they sound really good. So let's listen to just quickly to what we've got so far. So let's go up here. Having some issues with my mouse, of course. That's why. So we've got, let's minimize this. So percussion, short strings, long strings, 808, and the Brahms. Cool. So now let's check out, before we get to the French horns, let's go to the FX section. These are just kind of like our whoosh hits, and or you know what? They're kind of more like downers and crashes and stuff. So let's listen to these. They definitely sound funny on their own. Right? It just kind of adds to the song, just taking some more space. So we've got the FX, and now let's check out the synths. This is where I've kind of got like these like random alarm sounds. And another synth at the bottom there. Cool. So what we've got basically here, these are from Omnisphere. But basically I took the same sound, played it 3 times, and kind of messed with the volumes and a filter on it, so that it sounds like it's just kind of like, you could obviously do like a delay sound, but I wanted them to kind of sound like it was just going like getting more in the distance. Right? Nothing too crazy. So those are the synths, and then lastly you've got some other section of FX which are like downers and booms. So let's hear those. Won't concentrate on that too much because you guys know that from other videos, or it's basically like FX sounds. So let's move into section B here. We'll play it out and then we'll go into section B. Okay, so what happens here? The whole song, for like, you know, it's not the longest song, but you can't have it all at like 100, or I guess you could, but I don't have it at like 100% energy the whole way through. I thought bring it back down, kind of like the part where they'll, like, if you're watching like a sports thing, they'll talk about like the starting lineup. So like, you know, here's, you know, LeBron James is playing whatever. Here's the other schmucks on his team that don't matter. Here they are. Here are the players, right? So you'll notice like I almost pull some things away, like the hi-hats disappear. The beat stays the same. The short strings are still playing, but it doesn't have that higher octave of short strings playing. The long strings, the 808s, the Brahms, they're all kind of playing the same stuff. But we have this new kind of elements, which are the guitars and some synth stuff. So let's play it again, and I'll highlight the synths here. I hear that now. I think maybe that synth might be a little strong right now, but like too loud, but that's okay. Where was the other thing I said? There was guitars. So let's go to the guitars. So I've been trying to learn a little bit more about guitars and just like how to record them well. So I did some harmonics just to give it like a kind of a different sound. Okay, so then I also hear in the synths that there's that like wow 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 sound. I chopped it up so that it plays right before it, like on the first beat. So let's hear that. And obviously you hear this this sound here, which is just kind of like Anna 2, just another wrinkle. So that kind of plays in the middle of the B section. So basically it's broken up into two parts. You got the first part of B and the second part. The second part is where kind of everything comes back and we're gearing up towards the last section of the song. But you'll notice that the percussion, that's when the hi-hats come in as the second part of part B. So let's listen from here. And then the horns obviously are coming back in. But one thing I noticed here is that I have a section or another hi-hat. They're obviously not playing at the same time, but I think I messed with... So I've got a sound shifter on it. So that is basically changing the... Let's just listen to it. Here we go. So you can kind of hear the tuning changes, which is a nice way to bring the hi-hat back in. So let's listen to that on its own, like the percussion on its own. Just something to listen to that gives you a little bit of a change up of the song. And then we'll hear the French horns, because we didn't get these in the first section. So let's just hear how these are kind of playing. We didn't actually get in the first section. Let's listen to these on their own. So basically, we've got these going through a couple different instruments. I was having issues kind of getting them to poke through, and then sometimes they're too loud. But basically, we have them playing through Jaeger. I believe these are from Metropolis Arc, and then Trailer Brass. So getting the timing on these has kind of been a struggle as well. Like that da-da-da-da, like that part was kind of difficult. So basically, we've got 3 instances of it playing right now. These are the same. I just had them set on different tracks, so they didn't really interfere with one another. But you'll hear now back to our section B that they kind of come back in the second half. So let's listen to that. And I just duplicated a track by accident. That's okay. Here we go. So right here, we've got a little 2-bar thing just to kind of break up the 2 sections. You can hear that a lot of the instruments stop playing, and we kind of have this little dun 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 build up thing to go back into the A section again. So let's listen to that quick. And obviously the little downer going, right? So let's go to section A, the A section again. Okay, so what do I hear here? It sounds like the short strings are kind of doing something different. Okay, so we got them playing in 2 different octaves. The strings sound good. What else do we have? We have the long strings are basically doing the same thing. The 808s are doing the same thing. The guitar, something's changed in the guitar, so let's listen to that. Cool. So those are playing the root notes. Those are just power chords on my guitar. Just trying to record them in time, which is always a struggle when you're trying to record things, or at least when I'm trying to record things. But they're just basically my regular electric guitar playing through STL amp hub. It's got a good sound. I was like, let's just throw it in. I didn't want it to be too loud, so you might not even notice it when it's playing. So let me play it out for you. You might notice it if I turn it off, but it's not doing a whole lot, but it's thickening up the track. Cool. So now we've got this kind of like one last section here where I do another break just to bring it home, kind of breaking up the different sections. So let's listen to that. So what that's doing there is it's breaking up the 2 sections, but you'll notice that it's almost a break that allows that you'll hear the French horn is coming in at a higher octave again. So it's breaking up the section and then kind of allowing a new instrument to start up. So listen to the French horns come in here. also noticed that I've got the high arc strings playing. So those are kind of complementing the French horns that are coming in as well. Right, so those are playing along with the French horns. The percussion has changed up a little bit here. I've noticed that since the section A here, we've got the snare is kind of messing around a little bit different. So it is to keep things fresh. So let's listen to that. The hi-hat's changing as well. So specifically that little hit here is kind of cool. So all that is just back to back to back. You can see it's playing right here. That's kind of cool. Other than that, we're heading into kind of our last section here. So let's play that through. I've also got these toms that play a couple times throughout the track, so let's listen to those quick. It's just a little sample. Don't sound like super crazy, but they just add a little bit of flavor to the song. So right here, we've got kind of this build up. The short strings are going crazy. Let's listen to them. That's kind of like the little outro at the end. So the strings are going crazy. We have this little build up in this. Let's listen to this last section one more time quickly. So you can hear everything's kind of moving, going up. So do do. So that's basically it. And then we've got this little outro, which we just pull all the instruments back. Nothing's really playing except for the strings. And you can actually hear that alarm sound that we had from earlier. So but I believe it's an octave lower. So we've got this going. Tried it higher, didn't really work, but the low sound's kind of cool. Just sounds like an outro. And then our snare is also going kind of crazy, so let's listen to that quick. That's cool. Kind of like, it almost sounds like it's like a glitchy almost, but. And you'll also notice that the kick has changed up its beat for I think the first time in the whole song. It becomes basically 4 to the floor, so. So that's everything put together, and we get that little. It's just a climax, and then the song ends. So that's basically the track. I think that's just about everything. We got some alarms, we got some synths, the hits and the whooshes. Pretty standard, nothing too crazy, but I think you can maybe learn something from it. The big thing for me on this song was that I was just trying to get better at mixing. So this song is louder, which isn't necessarily better, but it does kind of people perceive that as more energy. So I've been working on that. So let me know if you guys enjoy the song. Hopefully you guys learned something. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. And hopefully I'll have some new videos in the new year. It's December, so Merry Christmas. I've also got my little Santa guy over here. Have a good one. We'll talk to you later. Have a good day.